AWID International Forum Conference continued today in Boksburg. Women's rights leaders and activists from diverse movements are attending the conference. Our reporter Nthakoana Ngatane is also there.
A very good afternoon from the African Women in Dialogue. Another phenomenal morning here with an unpacking of the fourth industrial revolution, the opportunities available for women in agriculture, in business, in a lot of fields that women can get into, but also in trying to develop whether it's apps or applications that can be used for women to be included, but also some very scary statistics in terms of the impact that can happen on women and society in general if we are not ready for that fourth industrial revolution. So let's speak to Professor Brian Armstrong from Wits University to get a sense of the scary numbers that he has given us. You've told us that between 2 and 5 million jobs are likely to be disrupted if we are not ready with the fourth industrial revolution.
Well, there's quite a wide range, as you say, between 2 and 5 million. That's quite a wide range, and it depends on how aggressive or conservative you are with the pace of technology adoption. But the South African economy, we employ about 16 million people at the moment, and over a period of 5 to 10 years, somewhere between 2 and 5 million of those are likely to be disrupted. When we say disrupted, it doesn't necessarily mean lost, but it will mean change significantly. And people therefore need to get the skills and the abilities to do the new jobs that are created as old jobs are made less relevant in the digital economy. And it's that ability to move from what skills used to be relevant to the skills that will be relevant tomorrow that is a critical challenge facing society and women in particular.
Professor Armstrong, you come from Wits Business School, and this is a place where, if you like, you're modeling people who not only will be employed in the future, but will create economies in the future and participate meaningfully in those economies. Now, when you put up the faces of people who are responsible for tech companies, mindful to say this is an audience of only women and the screen was full of only men, you said that's a concern.
Well, there's many concerns. So firstly, I mean, clearly as a person coming from a university, we need to think very carefully about what is it that we're teaching, how we're teaching, are we equipping people to be relevant in the economy of the future? So that is something we are thinking deeply about. So we, for example, launched in the business school a Master of Management in the field of digital business and postgraduate diplomas in digital business and lots of other relevant courses across the university. So I think it is important that we do that. But what is really important is that we recognize that women, there's this myth that women are somehow technophobic, that women do not adopt technology as comfortably as men. The fact is that women do use it less if you look at global surveys and emerging market surveys. But that is primarily, the research has found, due to inequalities in terms of income, employment, and education. If you take those three factors out, then women are found to be absolutely as comfortable as men with technology. So what we need to do is make sure that those three drivers, income, employment, and skills or education, that we narrow gaps in those areas to make sure that women are properly included in the fourth industrial revolution, the digital economy, and so on.
And for these women who are here, we're talking about women from different walks of life. We're talking about women from the grassroots. We're talking about women in business. We're talking about executives. We're talking about politicians. Now, if you were to advise them, obviously, maybe a lot of them will not be able to go back and do an undergraduate, degree or a postgraduate degree fully. How would they be able to tackle getting those skills?
I think there's a few parts to the answer. So the thing I want people to go away most with is a sense of awareness and recognition that this is happening. It is not going to go away. It is real. That we need to engage with it and in it and be part of it. And to do that, we need to be part of the conversation rather than be silent. So I think the most important thing, whatever sphere of life you're in, whether you are a politician or an elementary worker, is somehow to find a way to become part of the conversation. Secondly, to equip ourselves with the basic skills of, how do I use Google and applications and so on. But I do think I don't want to talk about specific skills, whether economics is more important than social work or medicine, or all of them are important. What the research all shows, though, is that the most important skill is almost a recognition that what made us successful yesterday, what would make one successful yesterday, is not necessarily that which is going to make one successful tomorrow. And a willingness and an awareness to keep refreshing our personal skills and learning. The saying is, learn how to learn. But it's essentially that means let's make learning a habit, that we constantly refreshing our skills. However far up the educational ladder we are, it is about constantly refreshing our skills.
Now, let's talk to these women. Now, we've seen these men who have gone into commercial applications like your Alibabas. We've seen the software developers like your Microsofts and other areas. What other areas are left for these women to participate in or to be creative and innovative in?
I think the encouraging thing, if you think about the South African economy and the African economy, less than 5% of our economy is what I would call tech businesses. So yes, you've got people who've created Tencent and Alibaba and Microsoft and Amazon and Google, and they all happen to be white males, or essentially white males. But there's another 95% of the economy, whether that is in retail or wholesale or manufacturing or resources or education or healthcare. There's another 95% of the economy for us to get involved in as entrepreneurs. And those sectors of the economy are innovation is as important in those sectors of the economy. And awareness of and embracing technological disruption is as important there as it is in the so-called tech sector. So I would suggest to women, if you find yourself, for whatever reason, locked out in inverted commas of the tech economy, focus on the other 95%. There's lots of opportunity there.
Thank you very much, Professor Brian Armstrong from Wits University. He unpacked the impact that the fourth industrial revolution is going to have and the opportunities available for women. And so the conversations continue here at the African Women in Dialogue in Boksburg.